Good day, everybody, and welcome to the final video of the IDT 300 course and the nonlinear video editing module. In this module, we're going to take a look at Premiere Pro. And I will say one thing about Premiere Pro, first of all, is that the ability to use this tool successfully it does require some advanced knowledge of nonlinear video editing systems. Premiere Pro is one of the leading, if not the leading, software programs that are used across video production entities in any type of training or learning capacity. A lot of training videos, personal videos related to educational materials, even motion picture movies have been edited in Premiere Pro. So it does come with quite a steep learning curve and requires a more advanced or sophisticated use of nonlinear video editing industry knowledge. I'll keep the presentation overview from a basic perspective of what's here, but I just wanted to introduce you to it in case anyone had never heard of it or is interested in seeing some of really what most of the professionals use. Now keep in mind my experience on Premiere Pro is more of a novice aspect in terms of what it truly can do. But I have edited several videos in it and have been using Premiere Pro for probably the last 10 years. It's been on the market for quite a while. So beginning with the interface, how I have access to Premiere Pro is I subscribe to the Adobe Creative Cloud. And if you have not looked into those services, I highly encourage you to do so because you can get all of Adobe's products at a very reasonable monthly price, including a lot of the static digital graphic software. You can get some of the e-learning authorware. Anything that's within their e-learning suite all comes within a very base price. And there are educational discounts as well. So I encourage you to look it up on the web, Google it, see what's there. You may need to talk to a rep. You can do a chat, see if there are educational break discounts. There's lots of stuff that's out there. So this is the interface of Premiere Pro. And these are some of the projects I've been working on here. But I'm going to go ahead and just start a new project here so you can see the interface of what's here. You go ahead and title it. So I'll just title it EDT 300 because that's what we're looking specifically here. Again, as I've always encouraged throughout the use of these tools, use the defaults. These are what's going to be determined to be the best use. They're the most commonly used tools that are going to be implemented into your projects. Until you have a further understanding of what these presets mean, I really encourage you to just use what is deemed as the standard default that's here, that's on the out-of-the-box version. It's probably the best advice I can give you. Now the interface is going to look a little similar to the one you saw in the Camtasia video related specifically to the timeline. You'll notice here's my timeline, here's my clip bin, here's my preview. So lots of different things that are here. The first thing you need to do is you need to actually import some type of media. Again, very similar concept to the Camtasia tool that you saw earlier demonstrated in this module. If you are looking to just get in basic principles of nonlinear video editing, Camtasia is a great tool to use. It's more user-friendly, has some of the same features. You can just do a lot more when it comes to Premiere, so I wanted to show you that. So if you go to the import aspect, and I'm going to bring in some still images that are here, you'll notice here that I have types of video that you'll see that are here. It supports MP4, MP2 files, audio files such as WAV, MP3, any digital files that we've talked about in this course. And if you're interested more about the different types of file outputs that are there, I encourage you to review the resource on the Technically Speaking section at the end of this module for additional descriptions of those modules. So I have my files into my download section, and I'm going to go ahead and just pull a couple of those here. If I wanted to, again, I know I used my Hurricane Irma experience in the Camtasia aspect, so I'll do the same that's here. Or what I'll do is I'll just grab a couple of other video or static. Again, I'm just using basic static images that are here. You can use, and preferably will use, motion video that's going to come across. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these in, and I'll import these. So you'll see here that it actually goes into a bin called imported videos. So as you kind of scroll through here, you'll see that there's different aspects. So here is the effects, here's the media. So I'm going to go to Project 300 or IDT 300. There is my video that I had brought in, or I'm sorry, the images that I had brought in. Now what's nice about this is if you want to preview this, if you click on it, it's going to preview up here on the left-hand window. As you drag them to the timeline, it's going to create a timeline, just dragging them over, and you can see here that this is my video production that's here. So if I'm going to create a slideshow related to my experience and my images that I brought in, I will go ahead and do that. Now, same concept as Camtasia. If you want to set ins and outs, you have the ability to simply drag back and forth. You can extend it out. Again, it will take all of those that are basically through there. Notice my defaults over here. When I talk about A, B-roll editing, so A is going to be my audio. If I'm bringing in an audio track, I would have it here on audio 1. That would be my voiceover. If I'm using music underneath this as well, I would go ahead and bring in a secondary audio file. If you've noticed the introduction module videos for each section in this course, it does contain a little bit of music in the front. I do a little bit of voiceover underneath it, and then of course I conclude it on the closeout of additional bringing that sound back up and closing out the video. Real simple video technique. It's just real easier. It's easier on the listen to. It's warm, it's inviting, it's friendly, so it's just something to think about that's here. So if I want to go ahead and create a video montage or a kind of a clip here using these, the static video files that you bring into the module come with a preset time. So all these are set at 5 seconds, and that's real simple to do. You can, again, if you want to trim those off, you can do that as well by simply dragging them back, bringing them out, extending them. Since there's no motion video that's related to this, you can really drag these as long as you actually want to. So again, real simple stuff. Now I want to bring out some additional features that are here that you can usually use for these. The effects aspect, if you notice here, if you start just to kind of open these up, look at all of the different abilities that we have with Premiere. You have the ability to color correct video. Usually you actually have to drag that into a Photoshop or an Illustrator, and you can actually make color corrections with there, export from there, import it here. What's nice about the Adobe products is that they work seamlessly across different programs that are there. What I mean by that essentially is that since Premiere is an Adobe product, if you need to do some video touch-up or some image touch-up, you can import it directly into Photoshop. You can use cross-platforms on moving video sources or media sources from one to the next. So a lot of powerful stuff that's there. That again is very advanced knowledge of what you'd be using this product for. Again, if you're just trying to do something basic, I do encourage you to use a more simplified option that we've discussed in the module. So from here, you have the ability, if you want to add transitions, you'll notice that there are different elements here. You can find out the video effects. You can go ahead and add your transitions. All you do is when you find what you're looking for is you look specifically on what the folder is, and then you'll actually just click the download button or the down arrow button from it, and it'll open it up. So if I go to video transitions, you'll see here that I have all these different options that are here. Again, if I have a 3D movie, I have these options. Again, these are basic transitions. So again, from a video nonlinear editing perspective, these are real simple things that you can do. So what I mean by this is if I want to do a flip over, I'd grab this and I'd drag it over to here. And you can see here, since I'm in an expanded timeline here, that it's actually applying it across here. Now when you zoom this out into a more 5 to 10 minute scenario, it's going to reduce the zoom feature that's here. Now you'll notice here that it implied a red line here. What that means is that it's a non-rendered effect. So when you have a longer duration of video, you actually have to render it upon completion of it. And what I mean by that is that it's actually implying the effects and making them ready for output as it encodes the movie file for the output production. So that's a lot of technical information, I understand that, but as you dive into this more and you learn more about rendering, video output, and different production presets, you're going to learn a lot more about those. So a couple other things that I just want to show you here as we just do the intro is that, you know, work on using your video layers here. I've used, if you notice, if you remember from the Camtasia video, I think I used 5 or 6 different lines of video sources. So you can stack those on top of each other if you want to do transitions. Again, it works just like PowerPoint. If you remember from the PowerPoint video earlier in this module, whatever's on top is going to show first if you're not using transparent images. So if you lay something over top of another one, it's going to cover it up. You can always resize in that video window, but you have to, it's not as easy to do when you are in Premiere. If you're using live video, essentially if you're using it from an iPhone, anything from a tablet or a camcorder, you actually have to set video ins and outs. And what I mean by that essentially is that you have to find the frame that you want on your video file. You'll set an I for in, that's a keyboard shortcut, and then set an out for it. You don't want to drop that whole clip over there and then start messing with the drag and drop here or the inward and outward of setting ins and outs. There's a better way to do that that's there. Again, that's a more precise yet common attribute function that you have to do in Premiere. So I encourage you to kind of look at some of those. I really encourage you to look at YouTube or Vimeo or other video repositories for tips and tricks on learning Premiere. For those of you that are the Macintosh people, the Apple products, Final Cut is what's going to be the equivalent of this. Now Premiere goes across both platforms, but Final Cut, which is also the equivalent to this, minus a few other features and shortcuts, is going to be the equivalent on the Mac Apple side. So if you have that and prefer that, you've probably heard of Final Cut and using it. It's the same concept that's being used here. So choose whichever program or platform you have that fits your operating system. Take a look at some videos that are out there. I just wanted to show some very basic introduction here, but you can really do a lot. I mean, we could spend 16 weeks on this, and we could be doing full feature films. We could be doing a lot of different things, but a lot of that also goes back to how you're shooting video in the field. If you're using good cameras, you have good quality, you have good sound, you have good production elements. This is a very more elaborate system of sophistication for doing nonlinear video editing, but it's really the staple across the industry, so I wanted to make sure I showed it to you and introduced you to its concepts to you. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed these 3 series of videos between PowerPoint, Camtasia, and Premiere. You'll see a very introductory one with PowerPoint and the ability to actually create a real simple movie there. Camtasia is a little more user-friendly, more widely used. You can do some more of the rapid stuff that's with it. You have great screen capture ability with there, very simple transitions. Good way to get introduced to nonlinear video editing. Premiere is going to be the staple with industry. It's your best. So as you become a more seasoned video editor, even for doing more elaborate projects, this is going to be the one or its equivalent Final Cut that you're going to use across those projects. So very diverse products to kind of conclude this course. Look forward to any questions that you have in the collaboration forum. For those of you that are advanced video editors or have used these tools, really contribute to those forums. Share your best practices. If you want to share a video, post the link to it up there. We're happy to look at it. Show your skills off. Show us what you got. Because again, this is all about just learning others, motivating others, and seeing the type of projects that are out there. So I hope you enjoy the conclusion to this course and the video elements that are there, and really enjoy the diversification of the video creation tools that we display.